install this new thing that had like 37.
Hello everyone. Would you look at that? It's Maude's Book Club time. We are live on several different platforms today. We are not only on Twitch, and I want to shout out to Toaster Poster, and it was lovely chatting to you in the Discord, which is free, and everyone should head over there, discord.gg/Maude Garrett. Awesome book club. We're about to hit 2,000. Where is Maude blaring at me? On YouTube. Also on YouTube, which I could just audio volume check. What is it? Do I need more or less? Do I need more or less? Because at the moment, it's in the yellow. It's not in the red.
You sound good on YouTube.
It's okay. I can possibly bump it. Let's have a look at my audio set. Oh no, it's all the way up to 100 for the first time. Are you kidding? Cool. We're also over on YouTube. If you search Maude's Book Club, that's where all our previous book club discussions live, and where all the author Q&As live, all the long form and fun clips as well. So that's kind of turning into more and more the headquarters, even though we do live stuff on Twitch, and that's where I'm checking all the chat, like Vaden, who's resubbed for 58 months in a row, Zen Marduk, who's just followed, and the Forlorn Knight, who popped on by, I believe in our last discussion, recruited from YouTube, now over on Twitch, and is a subscriber. Loving that one. Krylo Renzo. Yep. Thanks for the follow 7 minutes ago. And even though it was a day ago, I really want to show some love to Feral Goblin Gal because that's such a great name. I'm also in a video call with Members Plus. This is a Patreon perk where for $20 you get to have access to all of the, and someone hasn't muted and I can hear me blupping up in the background a little. This is a fun Discord video call. We can all see each other. It's like we're hanging out in the same room, and that's whose voices will pop up and you can see their names there. We do at least 3 book clubs every single month, and the book clubs go for 2 hours. And so that's a lot of participation in the club if that's your jam. And if you do want to have sort of like, what do I call it? I call it like passive, active, and interactive engagement with the book club. Passive is if you're in the chat on Twitch or like Steph is, what's up? Steph Story is in the YouTube showing up. I love that one as well. And like Tom in the TikTok, and Akka, who's just followed, and River Pups, who's just followed. And I Want a Chicken Sandwich has said, hey, this is my current read as well. Well, guess what? Chicken sandwich. Do you have mushrooms on your chicken sandwich? That's an in-joke from 10 years ago. Your night, whatever plans you thought you had, it's now Maude's book club. I don't make the rules. I am the rule. So let's talk about Oathbringer. This is Brandon Sanderson's 3rd book, and as you can see behind me, that wad of gigantic books covered by a plant. We are making our way through the Stormlight Archive. One defense weapon, if you throw this at someone, they'll die at a time. All books exceed 1,000 pages, and we usually split up our main book over 2 streams. We're doing 3 streams for this one because there's just so much to get to. Stephen Malofsky, it's been a minute. Lovely to see you in the chat today. Catch says you got someone to follow. Oh, Goblin Girl?
Yeah, she was streaming yesterday. She was drawing a character for a D&D campaign she's doing. And so I started talking about our Dungeon Crawler Carl one.
Yeah.
And she had never heard of the books, so she looked the books up, and she's like, that sounds fun. And then she was like, she's like, what version of Dungeons & Dragons are you using? And I was like, none. No,
I do homebrew rules, and the main rule is we don't like rules. It's improv first. So if you don't know, I've been running a Dungeon Crawler Carl tabletop RPG with the community. If you didn't need another excuse to join the community, we do cool shit, all right? And that's been
very interested in that.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. But it is unique rules because we only do 2 hour, or honestly, after our recap, an hour and a half streams for that one. But it's been creatively a lot of fun. Thank you so much to KP for your far out 115 sorry, Tim. Stream. What do they call it? Streak. Your stream streaks on 115 in a row. Now, Tim is in the video chat discreetly giving me the finger, which I earned because I was doing tech tests one day. KB Dubs just happened to be on Twitch and saw it go live. I thought I was very subtle about it. What I didn't predict or think about was that it would ruin people's stream streaks, and it definitely. Tim, where were you at before I wrecked it?
I was 120 plus.
Oh, that's a bad day. So yeah, look, I'm always sorry for that one. But welcome to the community. Welcome to everyone. We've in the community, if you're a member, head over to BookPick. It is a locked channel in the Discord. We are locking in the rest of the books for the year. We've got some really exciting ones. I've shuffled it around a little bit, and I've just made Jeff's shaking his head at me. Do you not like the changes, Jeff? Welcome, by the way. Lovely to have you here. That's a fun shirt.
The list is fine. It's fine.
Jeff is our harshest critic in the club. And I can actually sleep well knowing that it's a fine. I'm thrilled with fine. I did remove Vonnegut's Cat's Cradle, but I have been stalling that book for 15 years and counting. So what's another few months? Academic says, what channel was it? Head over to Bookpick in the Discord, and you scroll up and you look for where I've tagged everyone. So I want all members' participation and input for that one. Would love to get it locked. But yeah, lovely to have the members plus. It's lovely to see their face every single stream. Jeff is a Voidbringer, says KP Dubs. That's fun. I actually don't mind that. That's a rumor to start. Kenzie says, hey, did she read the TikTok chat? And then also says, source fed. Tom says, look, she's in a lot of platforms. Not wrong. I'm in TikTok for Maude's Book Club. I'm on twitch.tv/Maude Garrett, and I'm over on YouTube. Shout out to Rizzy, who's just joined, and AP, who's joined there. Now, here's the fun thing about Twitch. No, YouTube. Good Lord. One of three. I'll get there eventually. If I say press the little heart button, a flutter of hearts appear over the live chat that's there. There it is. It's so cute. Thank you. So I do read the all the comments and all the chats, and I have moderators. So don't be too horrible. Tom is currently reading Stormlight. Which one? Rereading Stormlight. Where are you up to, Tom? Thanks to Leadership in Fiction, who just followed as well. How exciting. We are just rise, my pretties. I'm just trying to grow all the platforms at once. If you are new around here, I do have a show document that members have access to, and in it, it's sort of like the plot recap. I put book club questions in here. There is a semblance of a structure. Good luck if we fucking follow it. Just so you know, we will chat about whatever comes up whenever it comes up, but it will all-ish be about Brandon Sanderson's Oathbringer. We haven't actually finished the book. We are talking up to chapter 85. So if you've read chapter 85, anything after that, it's not game, because you will spoil it for us all. But to give you a key moment of where we stop, if you haven't read chapter 84, mute for 10 seconds now. We're stopping around the time where Elar dies. Holy shit. Dude's dead. What the fuck? And it was Moash. Moash finally fucking did it. Moash came back and he killed Elar as he was saying the... Oh my God. You should have seen my face. My face at this time of the book. I was like, no. So anything after that, shush. We'll talk about it same time next week when we're going full spoilers. But for now, we're reading anything up until that point. I hope I didn't spoil it for anyone. I did give you a little heads up. Loving the rounds of applause that's happening from the Discord sound bar that we have there. So let's get stuck into it. Our AP saying, that's us pressing the heart 100 times. Smash that like button, peeps. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. And shout out to everyone on TikTok. I don't even know how many people are watching at any given time, but 512 people liked it already. That's cool. Tom says, fug Moash. Seriously, this guy, you're so close. You're so close. Tom says, I'm currently rereading with a friend, Way of Kings. We are talking with Taravangian and Dalinar and Navani flirting. Fun. Garrett 27 just joined. Are we related, or is Garrett your first name? It is a last name, just so you know. Oh wow, just like that, 629 likes on TikTok. All right. Oh my God, there's Zen Marduk in the Twitch chat. Says there is actually a subreddit for that. r/fuckmoash. And then we've got a first time chatter in here. Slight spoiler before chapter 85. Okay, now that I know where you're at, Shalon not realizing that she turned into Vale was peak writing, so subtle but great. DID moment. Yes, she's basically become, she doesn't even know who she is. When she started shit talking Shalon and meaning it, that was a great point in there as well. Also, we have a new moderator in here. She's working with Maude's Book Club. If you see our Luna in the chat, say hi. She's sort of figuring out Twitch as we are every day. So she's, don't test her.
What have we here?
Like, don't write horrible things just to see if she's figured out, all the blocks and the permitting words. But just letting you know, we've got familiar faces in the chat. Jacob TMK, thank you so much for following. Saved by the Boom, thanks for following. All right, let's get stuck into it. The main three things that I like talking about with Way of Kings are our three protagonists. These are the 3 points of views that we've basically been delving into and their subsequent side characters. I'm not counting Adolin as one because Adolin kind of flits between Dalinar's story and Shalon's story and even Kaladin's story. So they are the 3 that we're kind of going between, and their character development has been incredible. Because we're 2/3 through the book, I'd like the Members Plus to weigh in, and all the people watching. This is the question we ask at Maude's Book Club: is book good? Is book good? You can either do this by rating it out of 5 or sharing if you're enjoying it, what you're enjoying about it, and I will refer to all of it. Bill McNeil is joining us on TikTok, says, kind of book is this? Is it romance or something? I love sci-fi fantasy. Bill McNeil, Brandon Sanderson is what I truly believe possibly the most popular / somewhat successful high fantasy writer in the last 20 years. And that's, I think, been established by helping Robert Jordan finish the Wheel of Time series. I'm sure Jeff is like, and I'm sure is about to disagree with me wholeheartedly. But as far as Maude's Book Club goes, this is the second series that we have covered. The first being just the Mistborn trilogy. Did you hear the news? It's expanding. Did you hear the news that Mistborn has only got like a first trilogy, second trilogy? Is going to be a third trilogy in the Mistborn universe. Did we hear that? Brandon Sanderson has his own book convention, a Sando convention called Dragonsteel, which is happening in Salt Lake City in December, and he will be doing a reading of an excerpt of the book. Vaden, you have thoughts?
Oh yeah, I'm excited about it. Like, I mean, I love Mistborn, both trilogies. So yeah, I'd love to see another one.
Hell yeah! Oh, you're going to talk about if book's good.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, book's good. Yeah, book's awesome. Really loving the character development and. As usual, and one thing that's particularly interesting to me is just like just seeing all the characters. Like, I mean, some of them don't really get it, I guess, but like Moash, but basically like redemption arcs kind of thing. Like people, we see how people improve over time. So many people start out as enemies or rivals, and they become friends and allies, and that's part of Dalinar's thing is he wants to unite people. But like, it's just really interesting to see all the people that in the past were people they had to fight against or deal with, and now they've all working together against the Voidbringer threat, or so many of them at least.
What I will commend Brandon Sanderson doing, usually when a lot of characters start out as an antagonist or someone who's somewhat unlikable, it's quite difficult to read from their point of view. But with Adolin and Dalinar and a lot of the other characters, Brandon Sanderson has made them so 3, if not 4-dimensional. There's so much about them that we're either seeing more and more about their past that makes them more of a person, and like we kind of understand them further, or they were likable in an eye-rolly way, and now they're likable in a I'll die for this character way, which I think's really, really well done. I'm going back to the TikTok chat saying Spencer and Leo Ben saying I haven't seen you since SourceFed. Every time someone says something like that, I'm like, cool, so you never followed. I've been working in the entertainment industry in LA for 10 years. But that's fine. Hey, if this is how you're going to stumble on me 10 years later, what a great place to be. Feel free to follow because we do really, really cool things here as well, like this book club. Master Jarl is giving it a 4 out of 5. Tom's giving it a 4.5 out of 5. KP Dubs is saying that this book is high fantasy, and that scored a follow from Bill McNeil, who was asking about the book, and said, okay, I looked it up. Which is the best book to start with? I would start with Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn trilogy. I tried to read The Way of Kings, which is the first book in the Stormlight Archives, about 7 years ago, 10 times, and failed. And it wasn't until we did it with the book club that I actually kept reading through it. It can be a lot right at the start. So Mistborn, I think, is better and easier to get into. Academics giving this one a 5 out of 5. Pianki is saying Mistborn was supposed to be a trilogy of trilogies set in different eras, then a 4-book series of the new era materialized in the middle. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you for bringing in the facts. Sprinkles is giving it a 4 out of 5 so far. I like how similar chapter 84 in Oathbringer is similar to Words of Radiance chapter 84. What happened in Word of Radiance chapter 84? I thought it was 54 when we had that brilliant moment where Kaladin shits the bed after the duel.
If you would like me to clarify, I can. So, if I remember correctly, in Words of Radiance, the chapter is the one who saves, and in Oathbringer, it's the one you can save.
Oh!
And both have Moash in there, and Moash is either attempting to kill the king, or he is killing the king. So
wow!
Yeah.
Well done, Jimmy. That's fun. I did not connect that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Sweet.
That's really cool. Clever Girl says, Sanderson just can't stop himself from writing. Good problem for all of us to have. Let me tell you that much. Zen is saying that the audiobooks for this series are great as well. Toaster Poster says, have we already passed the point where Warbreaker is important? Now, we had a discussion about Warbreaker when we were doing Edge Dancer, and a lot of people said that we needed to read Warbreaker before Oathbringer. And then I was like, well, what's Warbreaker about? And I couldn't see a single parallel. Academics' hands are in the air being like, okay, You going to help us with Warbreaker if it's mandatory reading?
Yeah, I was a proponent of required Warbreaker reading. And yes, we have entered the area where Warbreaker is important.
Why?
You'd have to read Warbreaker.
So say I'm not, because like this book is so big already, and it's quite impressive that we're getting through it in a month, let alone 3 weeks.
I will say it's not required in the strictest sense, but it is highly important. Also, going back to the Moash, this is why I was doing this behind everybody's back while you were all complaining about Sadeas, like not realizing the devil in the room that you had with you for books 1 and 2. Like you're like, oh, Moash is so good. He's Kaladin's right-hand man, and nah, fuck that Sadeas guy. I don't know, no, Sadeas. No big deal.
I mean, Sadeas was still in this book in the flashbacks, and that's still quite interesting. But God, I'm glad he's dead. Like, oh, so sad, Eos, over that one. Vanessa's giving it a 4.5 out of 5. KP Dubs gave it a 5 out of 5 if I didn't read that one. So there's a lot of love. Jeff, I noticed that your score's not in here. What are you giving this out of 5? It's 3?
Yeah, I gave it a 3. It's fine. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's fine. It's entertaining, I suppose. Yeah.
Hold on. What was your correlation that you gave it when in the Discord? You were saying that it felt really sort of like frat bro culture?
No. So the correlation is that when I'm reading these books, it's like I've put so much into reading these books because they are so long and there is so much to them. That it's one of those things, like the reason that sports teams and frats and so on do hazing is because then you've given up so much to be part of this organization that now you're never going to quit, and you're going to like keep paying your dues, and you're going to keep being
it earns loyalty.
It does. And so when I'm reading these books, sometimes like when I'm slogging through like world building and not, I shouldn't say slog, I'm enjoying it. But like there are parts where it's like, oh my gosh, how many more pages do I have to go?
700.
And it's like, well, I've already read so many, so I might as well just keep going, because otherwise all of that time has been wasted and I've already invested so much, so I can't give up. And so in that way, as a person who was on a swim team who got hazed the heck out of, And then, oh no, I mean, whatever. It's not great, but it was part of life at that time. I'm old. But yeah, like you then never were going to quit the swim team because like otherwise you went through all of that for nothing.
For what? Exactly. And that is what a book club is all about and why it's so important to join a book club, because when you are reading a book that you consider somewhat mid, you're reading it with in a collaborative effort. You are one person who gets to relish in the mediocrity of the book with people who do enjoy it, and maybe it will influence your score and maybe you'll learn to like it more, or maybe it will just be nice company as you suffer. Either way, join a book club today. Clip. Oh, that was perfect. Thank you so much. We've got our slogan. I loved it. Get hazed together.
Yes, the company part. Because through this noise.
I haven't thrown a book in a while, and I don't feel like I'll do it this time. 21 Shiny Nickels, thank you so much for the follow over on Twitch. Appreciate it. First time chatter as well says, first time I read Oathbringer, people also told me to read Warbreaker. I ended up reading it later, and I kind of wish I read it first. But there's nothing that is spoiled or anything if you do read in different orders. It's too late now, Nickels. We've started it, and I have not read Warbreaker. I have not done it just yet. Moash is hearing the same voice that Dalinar heard after the rift, telling him it's not his fault. We definitely need to talk about voices in heads. What untames are causing an influence, maybe. We'll get there. Berkey's in here saying, it was originally a 4 out of 5 when I read it, but it's dropped to a 3 out of 5 over time. I'd love to learn more about that one as well. Over on, oh my God, 3 chats. Steph is giving it a 5 out of 5. Says, by the way, how many of you have a cup of tea with you? Steph, this is my tea. Yum. Helps with the discussion. Rizzy says, where would you start with reading Brandon Sanderson? It does seem intense with 1,000 pages. And Vaden's helped with the response there, saying he does do many shorter books as well. Mistborn trilogy novels are around 500 pages each. And the Secret Project standalones like the Tress of the Emerald Sea are around 400. I do want to do Tress maybe next year, but that's a lot of Sando, you know what I'm saying? Galway Coins says, I was told Warbreaker was supposed to be read after Oathbringer. Ooh. Tom says that Brando takes a break from writing by writing. Dan, thank you for the follow as well. James Buntrock says the standard is to read the first 100 pages of Way of Kings and see how you feel. That is the Maude Book Club way. Maude's Book Club? That is the Maude's Book Club way. It is the way.
Yeah, why do I get so much grief for following the club rules?
You actually established the club rules. You pioneered said rule. It is the catch effect. Do we do that? Or do we call it 5 by 22? 100 more pages.
It's 110 pages, but
just a few 22, and then you'll get there. The catch effect. Okay, we like the catch effect. Great. Tom says, look, there's no real wrong way to read the books. Tyler says, Oathbringer and Words of Radiance are the best books in the series. Well, that means after this, it is all downhill, folks. Oh, Bill McNeil just got the Final Empire. Welcome to Brandon Sanderson Books, Bill. How exciting. Mistborn's so much fun. In fact, that's almost inspiring me to do a few videos about Mistborn as the sort of entry saga into the Sanderverse. There you go. Yeah, please join the Discord. We have a Brandon Sanderson chat. We have a Stormlight Archives chat, and we have specifically the book of the month, which is Oathbringer chat as well, to talk about all those things. Nick says, all set. There you go. Caleb says Oathbringer was so good. Oh, okay, love this. Fantastic. All right, let's get stuck into what the heck happens here. I want to talk about Dalinar's visions. So as we know in part 1, Dalinar is using his bonding with the Stormfather to be able to show visions and show about this impending doom that is to take place, to try and build alliances around the kingdom. He sees a vision of the day of the Recreants, the Knights Radiant abandoning their shards and killing their spren. And of course, killing the spren is how the Shardblades solidified, the on blades, but just Shardblades. That where the Spren is no longer alive, but it does deepen the mystery of why they abandoned their oaths. And remember, this is Oathbringer, and Oathbringer is the name of Sadeas's Shardblade as well. There's a lot of oaths. There's a lot of bringing. Who wants to expand on what's being brought? No, I'm kidding. Ooh, that was a joke, but if someone's got an answer, I'm open to it. So this is obviously driving Dalinar's mission to unite the world before the same fate befalls the new Radiants. Dalinar had a little... Dalinar had a visitor. Why is it... Was anyone kind of scared? What was your feeling when Odium, who we perceive to be the antagonist here, one of the big bads, the puppet master, he has infiltrated the vision. So visions are no longer sacred. And Odium's trying to lure our boy Dalinar. How did that feel to read that moment? Who got thoughts? Jimmy.
Yeah, so I know that this may not be similar, but I've been watching the show Twisted Metal, and they have a character by the name of Calypso, and he does very similar things where he tries to invade people's thoughts and then get them to do things for him. So it's like kind of like a battle of wills, which I like. This is just my point of view, and I just like the confrontation that's going on.
There is always something very, very scary about this is a vision, so it's not so much sleep. You're not as vulnerable. But I always thought that a villain that could kind of get you when you're at your most vulnerable during sleep, and weaponizing sleep was always the scariest thing as someone whose number one rule in life is don't fuck with my sleep. Darian, you've got thoughts.
Yeah. That moment was pretty cool. Just because it shows a couple of things. It shows how powerful Odium really is. Because Dalinar is in a vision that's, basically created by what's the god's name? Honor. And basically Stormfather, which is like the god of storms on the world. So he's kind of like under like protection of like such higher powers, and this guy just comes in and he has the Stormfather just whimpering in the corner somewhere. That was actually a pretty powerful imagery right there, that Dalinar was like, I'm trying to like reach out to my all-powerful being, and he is like,
Scared,
hiding in a corner, like he's that scared.
He's supposed to protect me, but he's cowering over this. And what's really interesting as well is that Dalinar, his order is a bondsmith. His job is to bring people together. And Odium has very much made it clear he wants to sort of destroy and conquer. He wants to separate. He wants to break things up because he recognizes that there's strength in numbers. So having this dichotomy of Dalinar wanting to unite everyone against a common cause and really struggling with this, and Odium coming in with like, oh, but what if we just kind of like separate everyone and break them all apart? Also, you've been really kind of like drinking the Kool-Aid when it comes to the thrill. That's my jam. I am thrill incarnate, essentially. I could show you a good time if you just want to let loose a little. He is the perfect carrot to dangle in front of Dalinar. Yes, KP?
I almost forgot what I was going to say. Oh, okay. I also find it interesting that Lift seems to be able to enter these visions at will. And even when Odium's there, she's kind of watching in the background. And afterwards, she's like, wow, he was like creepy or whatever. So maybe it's not just so much that like Odium's so powerful. Maybe there is just some way to go into these visions, and Lift has it too. So perhaps she could like train everybody else or work with them to figure out what's going on, or maybe even block Odium. We don't know what Lift's powers are. We know she's unique.
She's so unique, and it feels like there's different sets of rules for her for almost everything. She doesn't need to be let into any of these visions. She can vision hop if she wants to. There is like no gate that can really keep her out, which I found to be really, really interesting. Jay Buntrock in the show chat, just for the members, has posted some great fan art of Odium. Yeah, fun. Darian as well in the YouTube chat saying that Odium's quote, "I am passion." It's the opposite of safe. KP Dub says, Lift just eats that stuff up. Pun. Everyone's talking about where Oathbringer sits in your favorite to least favorite. Academic says it's the least favorite, and Katie says, I like Oathbringer because we do get all of Dalinar's backstory, and I like his more than anyone else's. Katie, you're in the Members Plus call. Is that because you like a tight butt? Okay.
You'll never know. I do think Dalinar might have a tight butt, and that might get it going.
I like tight butts, and I cannot lie. Lift, it's quite interesting because she's so ready to distrust him, right? For that exact thing, and she's so influential. She really does have, and I forget his new name, but I always know him as Gorks, wrapped around her little finger. And so if she says, no, I don't trust him, then he's like, duly noted. And seeing sort of Gorks' struggles with all of this as well, the weight of this new position, Yonigan, thank you, Academic. Yonigan's new role being like, I'm too young to do this. I wasn't supposed to have this job. I wasn't even the one that could defy death. That was Lift. Like, Lift is the reason behind all of these things. I don't know what to do. And then sort of you see Dalinar's, you see the bondsmith in action, bringing people together, seeing people. I think listening is a really big part of a lot of these books, actually listening to people. KP Dub says Dalinar is a leader, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Thank you. You nailed that punchline. Katie says, I do feel like I relate to Navani. Is that because he's gorgeous? Sorry, Kate, I keep throwing these ones at you. The answer is also yes, Maude.
Sorry, I'm at a soccer game. But I feel like I relate to her the most because of just her role of like being a mom, but also having to take charge and like working. And I feel very close to that. But in later books, she has like imposter syndrome, and I feel the same.
Oh, interesting. What's so interesting though is that she's so smart. She's constant. I mean, not only is she Dalinar's scribe through all of this because he's not allowed to write or read. So she has that feminine role according to Brandon Sanderson's world building with gender roles in this universe. But she's brilliant. And her and Yasna, I mean, Yasna is definitely Navani's daughter. All they want to do is get the most brilliant minds together and figure it out. Just hit the books, learn what's going on. And there is so much power in knowledge. And I love that even though sometimes, you know, sexualizing a hand is a bit like, okay, what? But there is a lot of feminine strength in Brandon's world as well. Yasna sounds like yes, no. Yasna. Yasna. Okay, nice. Okay, next point happening here. Dalinar and his backstory. Katie has already said that this was the favorite part of Oathbringer and why it's a book that she loves more than some of the others. We learn who Blackthorn is. Oh, there you go. Colleen says Commander Azure for female strength. Yep, she's completely sidestepping a lot of the gender roles by being in charge and a strong fighter. Although, tangent, do we want to talk about Commander Azure's Shardblade? It's like a sick blade. What's going on with her Shardblade? I believe it was it Adolin? No, they went in the same fight together. Someone noticed that her Shardblade didn't have a gemstone forged in the middle of it. And that she couldn't summon it, I don't think it would ever disappear, right? It's almost operating at like 30%. Something's up there. But this isn't a dead spren weapon. This is an honor blade. So this is from one of the heralds. What do you think's happened here? Who's got theories? Tim's asleep. Kaladin noticed. Yes, KP.
Well, I don't know if this exists yet, but what if there's some sort of like anti-herald, void herald, whatever you want to call them? Because we've started to see that there's Stormlight, but there's also Void Light that the Barshendi warriors have. And so normally when you kill somebody with a Shardblade, their eyes sort of smoke and burn out. But when Azure did it, her blade left them sort of like ashen skin and almost desiccated or whatever. I'm wondering if it's a different kind of blade, using it maybe void energy instead of stormlight energy. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
I like that. It's like a blade of death.
Intriguing.
Or void.
Perhaps. Whether she knows that or not, I don't know. We don't know if she's got a spran or any of that stuff.
So the reason why I went in the middle of your fantastic theory is that's because Ray Porter is dropping by on the TikTok to say hi, mate. And I hope it's really him because it's his picture and his username is the real Ray Porter. And he's saying mate because of my Aussie-ness. But if that's really you, Ray, I don't know if you've just kept swiping. Ray, we'd love to get you on the book club. In fact, I have just today overhauled what books we're going to be doing for the rest of the year in a bid to get you onto the book club in the legitimate fashion by covering the Bobiverse books. So I'm moving mountains to make sure that I can get you on Maude's book club. And if you really are you on TikTok, you son of a gun? That's wonderful. So there you go. Guys, Ray Porter's in here. For those that don't know, Ray Porter has voiced such audiobooks like Project Hail Mary, which is one of the best audio experiences for a book I've ever heard, and is doing all the Bobiverse books. And so I got to get involved with the Bobiverse now. That's what's happening over there. Oh, guys, this is so cool. How fun is that? Can someone check this out? That's a real account? Everyone's saying hi.
It is.
Hi, Ray. Wait, it's late where you are. Are you back in London? Anyway. Bobiverse is fantastic. All right. Twist my arm. Everyone giving Ray a lot of love over in the TikTok chat as well. So cute. Also, thanks to Heaven's Gate and Happy Lil Bobbles and Zathu for the follows in the last 10 minutes. I appreciate that. Rihanna M is in the chat saying, what's the best audiobook you've heard? For me, it's a Herbert West Reanimator read by Jeffrey Combs. Oh, I love everyone giving their favorite audiobook narrator some love. Mine has to be Jeff Hayes with Dungeon Crawler Carl for my favorite series, but my favorite standalone book is definitely Project Hail Mary with Ray Porter, who crushed. And everyone's saying, yeah, he did a great job with Bobiverse, says Berkey, which is why we're probably going to be doing it in November. Now I've said it out loud. I guess it's happening. Jeffrey Combs is a great actor. I didn't know he did books too. Oh, there you go. A lot of people saying Bobiverse is a fun series. Well, good. We're doing it for the club. Huzzah! Aslan says, I can't wait to listen to this on catch-up when I eventually get to Oathbringer. I miss the NBC. Aslan, I saw you in the Discord earlier. I know. I missed you around here too. Love that I have you here. Also, says Darian, Ray was incredible as Darkseid in Justice League. I'd be remiss to not give that one a shout out. Good stuff. All right, so let's talk about Blackthorn. Who else was shocked at how dark it got? I just thought Blackthorn was a great warrior. I thought he was great, a great leader. I thought he was great on the field. He's messed up. He starts killing the women, the children, all of them. Okay, Annie with the Tusken Raiders. What the heck? Who still likes Blackthorn knowing his very sordid past? Vaden's like, me? Yes, Vaden?
I like him. Also, I think Holly had something to say earlier. I'm not sure if you still do, but yeah, he's awesome. Love him. I know he did terrible things, but he's becoming a better person. So
we've had something, Colleen. You had something to say earlier.
Yeah, but things just race through my mind and I forget them.
Look, the second it comes back, you interrupt me and get your point out. Yeah.
Well, one thing about the Blackthorn. There's a quote, I can't think of it exactly now, but I highlighted it, that said something about, the people that just keep trying to improve. And I think that's what Dalinar is. I mean, he did not even remember that past. And he was also under the influence of the thrill.
Yeah.
And the voice he's hearing is, I mean, there's a direct correlation between what's happened to Dalinar and what's happening to Moash.
Yes.
You can see the parallel.
Yes. And it is this absolving of one's actions. It's finding excuses for the behavior. I couldn't help it. This isn't my fault. I did what I had to do. The situations that I was in, the situations that couldn't be my fault, which is what I find some people's adverse reactions to therapy can be. You go to therapy and you're like, well, actually, I was not at fault. Everyone else seems to be the problem. They were having a bad day. It's not about me. Sometimes it's about you. Sometimes people's bad behavior towards you is a direct correlation to the bad behavior you've been demonstrating. People don't do things for nothing usually. Sometimes they're having a bad day. Sometimes you're making their day bad. Find the difference. So what is this voice? What is this voice that's ushering Moash into a delusion that he's not at fault? Actually, Moash it's not a black and white case at the same time. Moash's grandparents were, academic, you are chomping at the bit about this. Look, Moash was a symptom of negligence in the government. His grandparents were sick, and what was it? Can you remind me with this on academic? There was basically a trial, or there was something that was supposed to happen for them to get help, but Elar kept pushing it back or not prioritizing it, and basically they became a number. They were a number in the system. And Moash were like, well, they were my grandparents who I loved very, very much, and they died because of it. And because Elar can't run a efficient kingdom, where's the lie? I'm going to do something about it. I remember bringing up a real-time thing that happened where it's like someone's mother died. We can name him. Luigi's mother died and was failed by the healthcare system. And so Luigi took it into his hands, quite literally, to do something about it. And he murdered the CEO of the healthcare company because the healthcare industry in America is incredibly fraudulent. It's negligent. It's corrupt a lot of the time. And it's greedy. And the system's broken. And you can complain and you can email and you can do these things all you like. But sometimes if you want to make a change and you want to be heard, you take extreme action. Moash did that. And Kaladin agreed with him throughout about 90% of Moash's journey towards revenge. Kaladin recognized that it's not directly Elar's fault, that yes, the system's broken, but killing the king is going to disrupt it even further and is not going to aid Moash. And Moash really was on a path of revenge. He didn't want to change the system. He wanted to avenge his grandparents. And Kaladin was initially supporting Moash's dream of revenge and then stopped him and said, as your superior and as a Bridge 4 coalition, don't do this. And Moash was like, but I'm going to anyway. Moash's story is really interesting because he obviously was abandoned. Well, he had to walk away from Bridge 4 because of it. Kaladin was like, get out of here, not on my watch. And now Moash was attacked by Voidbringers. What we're seeing as well is that the Parshmen are vessels for Voidbringers. Voidbringers do not die, they just co-inhabit. And there was a really interesting chapter, and I believe we only got one of them from Venli's perspective. And Venli is a Parshendi that we've previously learnt about because Venli's sister had a big part of creating the Everstorm in the previous book. Am I right?
Yeah, Eshonai's sister.
Eshonai, exactly. Or Eshoni, Eshonai. And there's a really interesting moment where she finds her sister dead, realizes that there's no sympathy, empathy, care about her sister's life. It was just another pawn in war games. And now Venli was sacrificed. Sacrifice is a huge part of the Voidbringer ecosystem here. But Venli was to be sacrificed so that a previous void could co-inhabit her body. And she rebuked it. She said no. And she was powerful enough to stop it from happening, which couldn't be said for her loved one. She also bonded a Spren. It's a singer, radiant in the making, ... So now we're learning the difference between listeners and the fused. This isn't a all Parshman or all Parshendi at all. We are learning way more about the infrastructure, the culture, and the corruption of the Parshendi, and it eerily emulates what's happening with humans as well. Colleen, you've had really interesting insights for this, so I'd love to pass this over to you.
Well, someone earlier said that they were wondering if there was a void correlation to radiant. I think the fused might be very close to that.
What do you mean?
Yeah, the spread. They've got similar powers. They're
hold on, the void and Adolin?
No, the radiance.
Radiance. Yes, it's the light and the dark, right? It's the light and the void. It's the all and the nothing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I think you see like the opposites really clearly.
But the parallels at the same time.
Exactly.
And there's some beautiful parallels. It's Kaladin being like, wait. This is like an outright war, but for what? Why? They're not our enemy. This isn't the case at all. And he's trying to unify humans of the Parshendi to fight against the Voidbringers. And the Parshendi are like, why the hell would we team up with you when you've made us slaves and you've treated us so poorly this entire time? And Kaladin's like, can't argue that. What the hell do we do then? And he has this moment at the end of chapter 84 where he cannot take it because he is seeing the Parshendi group and Voidbringers and his people and the Queen's bodyguards and everyone coming in and everyone's attacking everyone. And he's like, none of you have beef with anyone else, really. And if we could just talk it out for a second, you could find that there is common ground between us and we don't need to do this. It is literally the fused and everyone else that this fight should be against. And there's death all around him. And he's just like, this overwhelming helplessness where he's just kind of detaches and stops and he's like, what is this all for? Like, what can we even do? Someone over on TikTok was saying, hey, is this actually live or is it a replay? What's up, Ancient Suds? It's live. I'm just split between 3 different platforms. We're on twitch.tv/Maude Garrett. I'm also on YouTube as well. Recohabitat, says Stephanie. I may have put in one too few many words, but yeah, cohabitat. Now I'm questioning things. Rizzy earlier says, yeah, Ray Porter's a legend. Loving that. Anson says, hey, Maude, have you read the Silo series yet? No, I still own it. Haven't read it. My TBR is long. Matt Glick says, I just finished the 2nd book. Is this of the Stormlight Archives? If so, we're going full spoilers for the 3rd book. You got to hurry up a little bit. We're talking all things Oathbringer up to chapter 85. Robin, I just noticed that you're in here now. Did you manage to finish the reading section?
Yep, all caught up.
Oh my God, Alikar's dead. What the fuck? Seriously. Oh, that moment. I'm like, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to have to talk about it. It's a huge deal. How are you finding 2/3 of the book so far?
I'm really liking it.
Yeah.
Like, like there's a lot going on.
There's so much happening, and we've literally already done our first hour because a lot of that was just convincing everyone that I'm one person doing 3 separate streams at the moment. We've just talked about how Dalinar's having flashbacks to Blackthorn, and just how kind of despicable he is. His memories are unfolding, and he, even though he visited the Night Watch, who blessed him by forgetting the fact that he kind of killed his wife indirectly, that's a negligence case. I don't know if you guys know this, but I feel like in another life, Maude was a lawyer for negligence, and this case is open shut. There was negligence. He was not aware of her surroundings. She was literally trying to get the opposition to surrender, and he'd already basically called for the death of everyone. Turns out she died as well. So we're learning just about how despicable Blackthorn was, but we're also in his head as he battles or indulges the thrill. What's people's take on the thrill? Is it a possession? Is it a drug? Darian, I know you had your hand up, so if there's something that we didn't get to in an earlier discussion for ease now.
Well, it was just related to Dalinar and the Blackthorn, and one thing that's hard for me to wrap around is, and again, I'm not as caught up as you guys, is Dalinar's fully aware of his history as the Blackthorn. It's only his wife he is erased from his mind, right? So when he's trying to convince people to join him and everything, that reputation as a Blackthorn is insanely terrible. Who would in their right mind would want to trust him?
100%.
Like, and he's like always shocked, like, why don't you want to trust me? Like,
he's a conqueror.
Yeah, like,
and this is what's really interesting. Oh, my video froze in the video chat. Sorry about it.
Yeah. It's like Genghis Khan asking you to
just let my army into the Oath Gate. I mean, I've got other things. I'm not going to do anything. And yeah, so I had always wondered how much Dalinar was in denial, but what I'm recognizing is that his role and in his past was wiped, and he has no idea of this violent, brutal impact that he's had as a conqueror, as a bloodthirsty, women and children killing weapon in war for Gavilar. Got there in the end. And Gavilar was the political head, but needed his sword, aka the Blackthorn, to do the work. But even Gavilar was like, when's the end? Like, how much conquering do we need to do? Enough is enough. So it's interesting seeing it. But do we think that Blackthorn is in control, or is he drinking the Kool-Aid of the thrill and he's now kind of lost control of himself? Because I'm a Dalinar apologist. God, I can't say that 3 times. I can't even say it once. Daddy Dalinar apologist. The man was addicted to the thrill, says Stargirl. Dalinar apologist. I think that the thrill took the reins. I don't think it. And I think looking back, the reason why he wanted to remove the memories is because he realized it cost him his wife. Even though that marriage was not great, they are on different. They're different people. But also, like, he was not speaking of Daddy Dalinar, he wasn't a good father. He was like, I see potential in Adolin, so I'll bring him in on this and I'll train him up almost like a squire so that he can take over from me eventually. But my other son, what's his name? I hate his name. Where did you get this? What broken language is that? Nah, keep him at home. I don't need to see him. So now, present day, what is his name?
Renarin.
Whoops. I'm a Daddy Dalinar apologist. Now we're kind of understanding the lasting impact of neglect that, or if forgotten his name, Renarin is experiencing. So I see why Maude loves Dalinar. Why? I like Renarin. Just can't remember his name. Not enough to remember his name. Jeff says, he loved his wife in his way. Dalinar had to go to work and bring home the bacon. If the bacon was a new plot of land and a citadel, then yep. Was it a cultural difference, or was it the fact that he had severe bloodlust and she was like, why are you killing so much? The blood doesn't wash out of your hands. He's been gone for years. What do you mean, Colleen? Who's been gone for years? Dalinar from his memories or Renarin?
No, Dalinar, when he'd go off to war.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be years before he'd come back.
And she didn't want to raise kids, on a war camp, in a war camp. But
Right.
but how did we first meet everyone? They're in the war camps of the Shattered Plains. They haven't lived domestically. Almost these whole books, flashbacks, present day, war. War never changes. Yes, Darian.
Yeah, no, I just listened to this chapter today. Kaladin mentions it. In terms of Elokar is at the kingdom, and he's talking about I need to check on my wife and my son, and he's like, you had the Shattered Plains for 6 years. Did you think about them then?
Yeah.
He's seeing through all the bravado.
Yeah, great point. I'm reading the TikTok chat as well. Ancient Suds says the fused are the foil to the radiance, but they have one less group or type or whatever. One less order, I suppose. Chili Mind says, love you, with 5 exclamation marks. Thank you for the follow. Ancient Suds also says, open the Oath Gate. We're totally not doing war crimes this time. Promise. I know. And Dalinar's like, I don't understand. I'm asking nicely. I'm not getting any allies. Why won't they ally with me? I don't understand. I just don't get it. It's buddy, you literally killed this guy's dad. And he's like, yeah, well, someone's going to kill me one day. That's just how it goes. And you're just like, oh my God. Consequences. Look who comes a consequence. And Ancient Sud says, Renarin, it means born unto himself, which I have a feeling is foreshadowing, especially considering his order, especially considering that he's in the chambers with Yasna, who's trying to get some answers, and he finds the magic mystery button that shows where all these secret soul casters, are they soul casters or the other caster? What's the other name for one of them?
Fabriel.
Fabriels, that's it. He's just got all the answers because he is listening. But who's talking to Renarin? Who's he listening to? Is he listening to the Spren? Is he listening? He's found all the thumb drives. Exactly. Mac West chimes in saying, I loved Oathbringer. Jonathan says, hey, it only gets better. Just a Big Turtle says, Oathbringer is my favorite, all of the Sanderland. Hey, for a Big Turtle, well done texting that out with no spelling errors. That's really good. Always surprised around here. Stephanie says, look, I wouldn't mind a little plot of land. Yeah, but could you stop at one? Or are you going to eradicate people? That's the difference. He went into eradication levels. All right, what else have we seen here? Let's talk about Shalon. Shalon is losing herself big time. There's some really interesting questions that I had about this. Where did it go? Oh, okay. Actually, Jeff, I'm gonna pivot really quick. I'm gonna put a pin in Shalon. Sorry, Colleen. I know you're just about to give me the goods, but Jeff earlier was saying, "Who liked Elokar? I was glad he died." Hold on. Do I have to get a poll out? If you're watching right now, oh, Bowser's my last name. Oh, that's cute. Okay, great. That makes sense. I loved you in Mario. Sorry about the hard rap you're getting the entire time. Who liked Elokar? I thought that this was obviously Elokar's best book. When he goes on side mission, side quest central, it was really, really fascinating seeing once he had rescinded a lot of his title to Dalinar, who was basically acting as king anyway, and he was going to split the title if there's a king and a high king, and Elokar was still going to reign and rule in his way. how much growth he has had as a leader. We really see him step up, and this is around Adolin and Kaladin as well. And Kaladin has chronic leadership issues. And I say that because he has to apologize for jumping into leadership moments. And this has happened at the beginning of as soon as he got that Shardblade, as soon as he accepted it, as soon as he kind of gave those oaths, he punched Rasharan in the face. Rosha, what's his name? Punched that guy in the face in the first, in chapter 7 of the book, and then was like, "Ooh, my bad. All right, action stations, everyone. This is what we got to do. Don't worry about him. I shouldn't have done that. My bad. But there's a bigger problem, so we got to hustle, and I got to get over here, and we need to work together." And then here, he's undercover, and he's still not in charge. He's day 4 on the job. And as soon as the threat happens, he's like, "Right, I need you, that battalion there. I need you to go here." And he apologizes to his leader after. He's like, "Hey, I overstepped. That wasn't really my place to do that." And he's like, No. I mean, you said all the right things. You did it all fine. Like, I'm glad you did." But knowing that Kaladin and Adolin are on side quest mission central as well, Elhokar really stepped up. Now, whether it was too late or this is the chronic start of the redemption arc, therefore he must die, how did you feel about Elhokar's death? Darian, you were glad it happened. Academic, you were not. How's everyone else feel about it? I was pretty devastated. And I was devastated the way that it happened. For him to learn that his wife, who was kind of away for years, was like, "I did what you couldn't, and I fused with a Voidbringer." What the? Woman? Your eyes are glowing red. How is this good? Poor dude. But like, I don't know. I feel like it was too soon, and it kind of sucked that it happened, and I didn't see it coming. I really didn't see it coming. So how did everyone else feel about the death?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the death. I understand why it happened, but like, it was frustrating because one, like I said, Elhokar was becoming a better person, and in this moment was going to finally redeem himself, but also because it put the nail, not nail in the coffin, but it definitely put a setback Moash, because how it was. Like,
I don't know if anyone saw it in the Fable. I was all caps in there just screaming. Oh my God. Fuck Moash definitely was something that I wrote in there. Sud says, Elhokar was hard to like, and that's what made what happened even harder. Colleen says he was also worried about his son. Agree. That was a beautiful moment. Heaven's Gate says, I liked Elhokar and I enjoyed his redemption arc before his death, though I can't say Moash didn't have a justified crash out. Academic.
It's obviously tragic because of Elhokar's death. Because of his redemption arc, because of who he's learning to be as a better person. But I think it's also tragic for Moash and for Kaladin. Like, this is something that, like, we're still hoping Moash is still alive. He's seeing things like the injustice that was inflicted amongst the singers, and him like, okay, maybe this is a touch point between him and Cal, and now this completely kiboshes any sort of redemption or reconciliation between him and Kaladin. And like this inflection point is just pure tragedy all around. Oh, I hate it.
It's so well done, though. Stephanie says she was heartbroken. Berkey says redemption doesn't mean you get to survive. Toaster says he was a red shirt before the start of the quest. I feel indifferent. Forlorn Knight says devastating. He was getting the redemption everyone around him had got and was saying the words. And fuck, Moash stole it from him. He was shard to like, says KP Dubs. Well done. Forlorn Knight says, and he was saving his kid. Robin says, I was more upset about Sar's death. Yeah, Sar, who, you know, was just happened to be there by circumstance only. But this is what's really beautiful storytelling. You have Kaladin looking for answers about Voidbringers, stumbles upon this refugee, almost like a refugee camp, right? Realizes they're not the enemy at all. They have a lot in common. Kaladin's literally representing a slave brand on his forehead. And he teaches Sa and that tribe survival techniques, going, technically you're my enemy, but you're not going to survive on your own. And humans are the reason why you won't survive, because you have been enslaved this entire time. You don't know basic survival. So I'm going to teach you this. And then finds himself kind of questioning everything. They're not the problem at all. So he's not only teaching them how to fight, survive, but how to survive the Everstorms as well. Like he's looking for sanctuary for them. And the parallel of what's happening is that Moash is doing the exact same thing. Moash was the assassination attempt. Voidbringers killed his party that he was trying to flee his old life from. What's so interesting is that Moash, being basically a prisoner of war, but, you know, in a respected way. And that was also these things. There are times where they could be cruel, but they choose compassion. It's like you get to choose the task and the job and how you're going to contribute to the camp. And Moash starts defending those that can't defend himself. And that's a beautiful moment with Moash being like, that's not cool. And I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to fight for them. So Kaladin's fighting for his parchment. Moash is fighting for his camp as well. They come together. And Moash kills the king, who at this stage is Kaladin's ride or die. And then Sa, who Kaladin had trained and wanted to, he was fighting the right reasons because of Sa, dies as well. Who kills Sa? Did we know what's happening there? It's just war. It was just such a clash, wasn't it? It was like 5 different parties coming together. Lots of gifted subs, by the way, and I just want to take a moment to say thank you to Greg for 5 gifted subs. You've gifted them to Nazareth, Silly Boo Boo, Retro Coda, Dr. Mondo, and Condenser. If you got gifted a sub thanks to Greg, you make sure you say thank you in Twitch chat. Jay Buntrock, thank you for gifting 10 subs. Was it 10? It was 8. I'll round up. Thank you so much for that. You gifted subs to Katie Brush, who's in the chat right here and can literally unmute and say thank you, even though she's at a soccer game. So you do what you got to do, girl. But Fluffy Suze, Thanos' Soul, Sabby Scott, Skulldrock, Selfale, Shea Hawk, Psychovisk. You all got gifted a sub thanks to Jay Buntrock. So if you did get gifted one, make sure you say thank you. Make sure you say thank you. I'm going to start reading out some of the chat as well across the board. Full On Night says, it also validated Elikar from book 1. He wasn't crazy. He was saying the words. His spren didn't come out of nowhere. It's been there the whole time. And like Stump, he didn't understand what was happening to him. It got validated even further when Shalon started seeing shapes in the mirror. It comes back to book 1 crazy, which isn't at all. And Shalon's like, something's watching me in this mirror. There's something going on here. We had radio silence on that in book 2, but that's coming full circle as well. Colleen says Sa lost his daughter that he was trying to save before the war. Ugh. Dalinar had done worse things than Elikar had. Academic wants to remind everyone. Snore says Elikar was nothing more than a footnote in Kaladin's story. I disagree. Elikar has been a catalyst in Dalinar's story and Kaladin's story and Adolin's story. He's been quite pit, but he also had a really fully fledged arc as well. I think he had the most change from book 1 to book. All right, Jeff.
Okay. This is what I'll say. Elikar is literally nothing. As I said in chat, he's nothing but a footnote. Like, realistically, his effect on the story is to motivate other people, or to be the like quasi obstacle sort of to other people getting things or something happening. Like him and Dalinar, all he is like the weak thing that Dalinar gets to shove aside to assert power, right? In a quote unquote peaceful transfer of power, so that Dalinar can kind of feel good about himself and how he's progressing out of this sort of violence, whatever, and that's his purpose there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kaladin, all he is like this beacon that Elhokar can look up to and say, okay, I'm gonna now choose to model myself after this guy, because obviously he's the guy who knows what's right and knows how to fix things. And even on the mission where Elhokar quote unquote takes charge, he's constantly asking Kaladin, what do we do? 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 And that's all he does. And it's meaningless. Like, it's, yeah, sure, maybe it's some sort of growth, I guess, but realistically it's just idiocy. And it's
asking someone who knows better.
But Kaladin doesn't know better. That's the whole friggin' point, is that he doesn't know better. And that's like...
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't. He really, really doesn't. Like, Kaladin even doubts himself throughout the whole thing. He doesn't really know what the heck he's doing. And that's okay. Like, that's good. You shouldn't necessarily know everything that you're doing. It's okay. But, like, Elhokar, then, his death is just another catalyst in Kaladin's story, and it sets up Moash as like the other side, right? Like it really solidified that sort of
tension,
antagonist,
yeah, for
Kaladin. But that's really all it does. I mean, he's meaningless as a character.
I don't believe he was fridged, so to speak. Academic, I'm tapping you in for that one. I'm tapping you in.
I take umbrage with the claim that he is a meaningless character. Like you're right in that he is a useful story device and plot device for moving characters to where they need to be. I do think I would challenge you. Would Kaladin have said the second ideal if he didn't have Elhokar and have this tension between his duty and his what he thought was right with Moash, like what he thought was morally right, and then him overcoming that was you're right. That is, I think in that instance he's way more of a story plot device, but I think he's way more interesting as a character as he's down in the doldrums in a slump, and I think without Elhokar as a character, we don't get the same story in any way, shape, or form. Like this, we have to right? Maybe not Elhokar, but a character like Elhokar.
I feel like Elhokar's story within 2.5 books, 2 2/3 books, has changed so much from A to B that I don't think he had a singular purpose to become a catalyst for other characters to grow from. I think he was thread that was stitching characters together and pushing all of their narratives further, as well as his own in an incredibly important way. There you go. I think if he didn't die, though, he could have been good on his own. I think Jeff is saying that Elhokar is only useful to push other people's stories and doesn't have much of his own. I also think he had enough on his own in those 2.5 books. I do. I think that going from incompetence to somewhat of a competence, and I will argue that asking someone who is more informed for an answer is so much better than trying to figure it out when you are more clueless on the matter. And I think old Elhokar, book 1 Elhokar, would have been like, this is what we should be doing. And it would have been steeped in paranoia, which we now see is valid. Whereas book 3 is, I like that, Colleen. He was a contrast to both Kaladin and Dalinar. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he had a lot of character growth as well. And it really hit me hard. And I think for it to have an impact like this is an EO in the first 4 chapters of Red Rising. It has a lot more substance behind it. Jeff says we have too many full characters already. It's okay that some of them are just plot devices. I think that cheapens the 2.5 books of his story, though. I do think that there was a little bit more substance, and it is a loss. It also really prompted me to think, well, what would this story look like if he didn't die? And how much of a change would happen with his death to to show the evidence of it being a catalyst as well. KB Dub says it's not just 2.5 books, it's 3,000 pages. Darian, you've got thoughts too.
Yeah, I just have to say, again, I haven't gotten this far, but hearing the plot device of it is, it really is like the Ned Stark moment in a way, it seems, because it's the same thing like with A Song of Ice and Fire. Like, how would the story progress if Ned Stark wasn't executed? I guess it's the same thing here, but it's like such a perfect plot device of this character showing growth, finally showing maturity, slowly but surely. So now is the time to, to clip his wings.
Yeah, but Ned died at the end of season 1. Just saying.
Yeah.
Elar would have. If he died at the end of book 1
of the books. Yeah.
No, but we're halfway through season 3 though. Is the difference? Listen, a lot of people having thoughts. I love this conversation. I think it's great. I think it's very healthy to have these sorts of conversations. Palmer John says, I legit had so much hope in that moment when he started speaking the words. Mike said it opened Cal's eyes to the larger class struggle of the war. The fused are his enemy, not the Parshendi. Sud says Kaladin knew well enough to inspire and lead people, and Elhokar recognized that and looked up to it and wanted to emulate it. He couldn't and didn't want to be the warmongers like his dad and uncle. He wanted to be a hero. And Stephanie Press, she got my quote from Fallout. So I'm glad someone got it. Yay. Heaven's Gate says, there was a big chapter up earlier as well. I feel as though a good king is able to know when he's out of his depth. Yes, Kaladin didn't know what he was doing, but if Kaladin is out of depth, Elhokar is as well and might as well be stranded in the middle of the ocean in a high storm. Burke says, even footnote characters can seem like main characters when they get 15,000 words written about them. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid over here. Heaven's Gate also says an Elhokar is low-key just a regular dude compared to everyone else, which unfortunately just makes him less interesting in a way. But he's king. but he's king. Greg says, I missed the Fallout quote. I said, yeah, there was just like years and years of war. And I said, war never changes. Darian.
Yeah, I just want to say that thing about Kaladin being out of his depth. I think it's more of a case of just imposter syndrome he is facing, because he does... within his limits, he is proven himself to be like a natural leader, inspiring people, and it's just really self-doubt and his mental health issues. So I think that's just a case of imposter syndrome. He really is, he is more than he sees himself.
And apparently that's not the last we're going to see of imposter syndrome, so that's really interesting as well. Okay, let's move. One other little thing I want to talk about with Elhokar's death. What happened mere moments before it? Shalon sketched him. So now, every time Shalon sketches someone, I think that that's another face illusion in her arsenal, right? Elhokar's dead. Who knows about it? Are they going to chuck a Dalinar and dust a death under the rug and be like, that's not how it happened? Oh, my wife's dead? Yeah, she was assassinated. They're obviously going to have to. We are not up to it yet, but my guess is, did that queen already perish? She evil. She got to go. She's dead. She's like a psychotic revelry that's happening where people are addicted to binging food, which is fueling corruption in this town. Oh, sweet pea. You want to talk about incompetence? Elhokar's doing just fine next to his wife, who only appeared for 3 chapters. And that's a difference. KB Dub says, can we take her drawing Renarin's healing and Dalinar's bonding power to bring him back? That's interesting. That's interesting. Berkey says an overarching theme in the series seems to be people rising to the level of their incompetence. There you go. Okay, so let's talk about the arc and redemption. I have some notes about this, and then we can move on to Shalon because we are powering through this 2 hours. Throughout the series, Elhokar struggles with insecurity and ineffective leadership. So how much had he grown by the time of his death? Jeff argues, not as much as you think. I argue, actually, it's quite a lot of growth in that particular time. Elhokar, and I'd like your answers below as well, your homework. This is question 1. What are your thoughts on that? Oh, thank you, Cat's Pajamas. Stopping by saying, I haven't seen you since SourceFed. Yep. Great to see you today. I am talking about books, sci-fi, fantasy. I'm still nerding out on the internet. I haven't stopped. It's what I do. It's what I do. First question. So, how much had he grown by the time of his death? Question number 2. Elhokar finally begins speaking the first ideal. What does it mean that he dies mid-oath? Sadness for me. Tragedy. You have to complete the oath. So his spren was there. No one could see it though, right? Does the spren doesn't die. The sprens are like voids. They never die. They do die. Oh, Dalinar killed one. Kaladin killed one. Kaladin killed an evil one.
Yeah, I think generally they don't die. From my understanding, they usually, even when they die, in quotes, they just kind of disperse and come back at some point in the future. But in this case, I suppose that they died. I don't know if it's 100% actual death or it was just a really long,
So void are spren, but spren is the light and void is the dark. But they have the same thing. They don't die. They just recycle.
I think so. That's based on my understanding from these books so far.
Mid-oath is that Elhokar, I mean, it was only in desperation that he began to utter it. Does it mean he knew the words all along, but he was never courageous enough to say them? Or he didn't feel like he was worthy enough to say them? Ugh. How much would it have changed if he actually did utter them? His spren would have turned into a weapon, and he probably could have fought back. Maybe he'd still die. Ugh. We don't know. We don't know. Do you view Elhokar's death as a tragedy of timing, or was it inevitable based on his arc and the circumstances? Jeff, you're in Mushroom Town. You say inevitable. Jay Bunfrock, thoughts? Did I see a hand flash up? No, he's like, please don't call on me, teacher. I don't want to speak in front of the class. Fair enough. Fair enough. Even though I love your insights. Colleen, I saw that hand.
I just think that part of what made it seem like Elhokar was making this huge arc is that he started out so low, with so little going for him as far as knowing what he was doing or any leadership skills or, I mean, he sabotaged his own saddle just to get
attention.
Somebody's attention.
Yeah.
And so I think when you see where he started out, any growth is going to seem like a lot.
Jeff, you bastard. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. That's an in-joke. Jeff has made his background in the video call that we're all in, the Foundation novels, which I have gone on record to give 2 stars out of 5, which Jeff, I believe, gives it a 6 out of 5, unless it was just 5 because you don't do 6s. But we had a crucial disagreement over that, and mine was in part because I read it in a pandemic. And there was not enough escapism for what I needed and required. I liked that, Colleen. I do like that. And I actually think it answers the question quite well. Was it inevitable based on his arc? Yeah, he had such an arc from where he began that's why his death was almost inevitable. That was his whole story. In what ways does Elhokar's desire to become a Radiant reframe his earlier flaws and mistakes? I think when he started seeing his family members and others around him gain power, responsibility, he was in awe of them, and I think he had better role models and examples. Was everyone giggling about? Okay, now James, is there something you would like to tell the class? Oh, it's still muted. That's what happened to Darren as well. What's going on with the sounds? Oh, you got it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
okay.
We gotcha.
I mentioned in the chat that Foundation is no Red Rising.
No wonder you're laughing. I look up and he's like, goddamn right. Jimmy said Foundation's a slog. Foundation's overrated, says Academic. Oh no. I don't like being right in this case, but here we are. It's just not. This is the great thing about books. It's not a one size fits all. Foundation was rough, says Stargirl. Look, I mean, there's no wrong answers. Except that one. Moash delivers the killing blow. Do you think Kaladin's earlier decision to spare Moash indirectly caused this moment? Well, yeah, if Moash was dead, he couldn't kill Vaden.
Yeah, like I just say, yeah, like that's one of the things that's important in the series, and it comes back to, I think, it's been a couple of the shows where what's been important is like when you maybe let people live and they come back. Things come back to bite your ass, right? Like
Yeah.
Like so, like you make the choices. You hope that people improve and they will not do the things that make them evil or dumb or whatever, and then they end up doing it again. You're like, God damn it!
I should have killed you when I had the chance. Exactly. We all hope for redemption, and some people can't change. Sud says Kaladin knew well enough to inspire and lead people. Oh, we already said that one. Sorry. Tried Foundation, I gave up and I listened to Dungeon Crawler Carl for the 7th or the 8th time. World Wars Book Club, we shit on Foundation. If you tried that trilogy, hey, good on you. It is required reading as far as sci-fi goes. Asimov is a very brilliant writer. Caveat, you just got to be in the mood for it, maybe. Or maybe it will never be a jam. But it's not for everyone, but it is for some. Many. I mean, I had my thoughts on it, and my gosh, was it like there was just empty silence when I was slamming that when I did that for Nerdist Book Club. And the comments were like, who is this? Did she read the book? What is her problem? And I was like, listen, it was 2021. Thoughts on Hyperion. It's another book that I've started twice. And after one chapter, I'm like, what's happening? But it does have an ensemble cast in the audiobook, which was a little bit more helpful for me. So I do want to get back to that, but I did hear that Dan Simmons, what's his name? The author, has said some pretty controversial shit at the moment. So it went down my TBR, which I need to look into more. But Jeff told me that, and I trust Jeff, except for his review on Foundation and his thoughts on Elar and his thoughts on Red Rising. But that's it. That's kind of it. Everything else, I feel like everything else we're fair game. So there you go. How's my chat going? Okay, everyone's good. We're all good. Okay, Shalon, let's go. Shalon is getting very comfortable becoming Vale, and anyone else at this stage. Now, I mentioned earlier what I thought was a real red flag with Shalon was, and I thought it was quite strange that she let her inner circle, aka her spies, in on the fact that she was Vale as well. I thought she was going to keep that incredibly separate, and then Gaz is sort of like, you're very different people. She's like, that's entirely the point. And he's like, I kind of wish I knew. I wish I could have guessed it. And we learn more and more that she becomes a different person, mind, body, and spirit, essentially with this. But when Vale starts critiquing and criticizing Shalon, and when Vale takes over, because Shalon can only see big picture, and Shalon just doesn't focus on Shalon's got ADHD. Wait, what does Maude know? What do you mean? Do I have DID? Not today. Who said that? What is that, academic? You can't write in all caps and expect me to ignore it. You said, wait, what does Maude know?
You just said something that was.
What did I say? I said it.
You said a thing.
I said it. I said it.
Language.
What was really interesting was when Shalon, when Vale started. What did I say? I already said it.
I think you read the series already.
No? I haven't even read ahead this time. I stopped at the reading. Oh, I hate secrets though. I really want to know what I hit the nail on the head with indirectly without knowing. Well, I mean,
After.
Okay.
After.
Okay, I'll be reading and be like, oh, that's it. But this level of deception. So I see Shalon more and more as the ultimate rogue, right? She has illusions. She can cast sounds. We've already said it. She's kind of got mage hand. She's got prestidigitation or whatever it is where you can make illusions to distract. And she's going on her own. She's going off on her own, basically. She gets stabbed through the chest with a blade. She literally gets impaled. And she gets shot in the head with an arrow. Now, if you listened to the audio, when Shalon's trying to talk after getting arrowed in the brain, yeah, the slurring, yeah. Kate Reading does an amazing job with that, where she's like, you need to look up the car. And they're like, are you okay? She's like, oh, no. And then her Stormlight starts healing it with the arrow inside her head, and she's like, "Oh, my mistake." And you're just like, "Oh my god." I don't remember. I might have zoned out. Did Shalon decide to become these other characters, or did something else force the changes? Great question, Jay Buntrock. So essentially, she's discovering that her order is illusion, right? So she's able to. Initially, it was when she drew and when she sketched. She could kind of extrapolate that sketch and become it. And then she recognized that there was incredibly positive subterfuge in being able to become another person. And then it went deeper than that. Shalon recognized that she has a lot of trauma. She killed her mum, which indirectly killed her dad. She's got blood on her hands with all of that. So she uses this, what does DID stand for, Colleen? It's a dissociative
identity disorder.
And what actually happens in with DID people is that it's a coping mechanism, right? You have had so much trauma that you and your brain does not want to cope with it anymore. So you become another identity. You become either the child at its pure state before it was traumatized. You can become someone who's stronger, and so that they're able to embody characteristics that can handle the trauma, or you completely disassociate from who you are, and so you can ignore it. And a lot of the time, Shalon was like, oh, Vale is someone who could do really, really well in the underground, in the underbelly, to find out the task that I've been set, which is to who killed Sadius. And so I need to get into the rough of it. And so Vale's the perfect person for that. Working with the Ghost Bloods, she has the integrity, I guess, of a much sterner, grittier person. And then Shalon realized that while Adolin was teaching her Shardblade practice, that Shalon could never do that. Shalon can't cope with that. So I'm going to become a heightened version of Shalon and be Radiant. And Radiant is going to be so stoic and by the book, and started flitting around with all of these different identities to tailor for the situation. But what I noticed started happening, Moon Knight also is a DID character, says Colleen. Yes, well done. It's like you've got personalities that can just handle it, and you'll flip between the ones that's appropriate for the situation. But when Vale started insulting Shalon, and when it wasn't even outwardly, it was her internal dialogue, where she's like, Shalon isn't the person for this. Shalon's pathetic, or Shalon has ADHD. Shalon can't focus. Shalon only sees big pictures, and completely becomes a different person. But then there isn't harmony between them. So almost using Vale as a way to voice the unworthiness that maybe Shalon truly feels. I just thought that was really an interesting character development for Shalon. But the ease in which she's kind of feeding deception. Now, keep in mind, Patton's whole spren was lies, right? Wasn't Patton the spren of lies? And here's Shalon lying to herself, lying to those around her, becoming different people. There's so much deception in what she's doing. How does it affect her relationships with Kaladin and Adolin, especially on her side quest extravaganza? I'll give you a great example for one of them. her relationship with Kaladin, I feel like Kaladin has no idea where he stands with her. He thought that before she started doing her illusions and, delving into DID, that they had a moment out there in the Shattered Plains because they trauma bonded over nearly dying in not an Everstorm, in a high storm. And he's like, she's not even talking to me like that person exists anymore. And she's got these rebukes. Like, she's not just doing things in jest or to be playful. She's saying some mean shit to him. And he's like, what did I even do to deserve this? And I don't even know where that's coming from, but it didn't happen before and it's happening now. There you go. Jay Buntrock says, Patton is a cryptic spren and they love lies. Colleen says, but then she realizes that the illusion wasn't enough to make her legitimately street smart. Exactly. Vale will glance and wink at Cal, so she and he are both confused. Yeah, Vale's really leaning into Kaladin, right? Vale's confident enough to get flirty.
And she likes a bad boy. As she sees the dark and brooding Kaladin as more of a bad boy than the clean, stylish Adolin.
But Shalon and brightness are perfectly equated for Adolin. So Vale, I can understand that personality being more drawn to Kaladin. Now, we know that they're the same person, but she doesn't even. Like, she's treating them more and more separately. Is Kaladin a bad boy, or is he just a little emo, says Vaden. Yeah, Kaladin's, I don't think, he's not like the bad boy, but he asserts power, I believe. Patton likes lies to others, but needs truth to herself in order to advance. Lies, says T.C. Roberts, who's Tom on TikTok, who jumped over to YouTube. Thanks for making the jump. There's not many people on YouTube. There's some beautiful company there. We do have a lot more over on Twitch, but I'm not going to keep making you jump like that. Yeah, he's more broody for sure. Kaladin's got a chip on his shoulder. It's not a chip, it's the whole bag on his shoulder. So yeah, I get that. Shalon's not the only one facing divided loyalties. I really like this as a pattern between all of our protagonists. Shalon is divided between her personas. Dalinar is becoming divided between honor and practicality. Kaladin is divided between the humans and the singers. So who handles this internal conflict the best and why? Anyone? Crickets. I know my questions are getting more in depth.
Obviously not Kaladin at the moment, because Kaladin's kind of just like lost it at the end there and didn't know what to do.
And is it
pulled himself into and just froze.
Yep. And I think that's like a rush of different emotions, including helplessness with that one, for sure. I don't think Shalon's doing as well. I think she's becoming more and more fractured every single time she splits. I think she's losing herself the more she stops being herself. How many characters has she got in her back pocket now? 10? More? She keeps making new personas. She keeps adjusting to these surroundings, but I think it's coming at a cost of who she is. Colleen?
Everyone she sees, like when she really has that breakdown, I think it's interesting. Both she and Kaladin do something they think are really helping people, and it totally backfires because neither one of them see the whole picture and realize what's happening.
And so, Shalon was known for being big picture as well, and she couldn't see. Well, that's because it was Vale. Interesting.
Well, and it was all an illusion. She didn't know. I mean, even Vale had that persona, but she didn't really have the street experience to realize what was going to happen.
Well, there was tunnel vision with the objective.
Right. And she had that total breakdown and just kind of flipped through personalities, through personas.
What about that beautiful moment? But that beautiful moment where it was like her face was melting off like paint. Can you just imagine as well, because she came face to face with the person that she was impersonating and she's freaking out and there's panic spren that's just like, you know, going everywhere. And so she's like literally just dripping off to become a new identity. But like, if that's not such a clear demonstration of sort of like losing control, it's, yeah, really well done. Maybe Dalinar is handling the best out of all the characters, says Sprinkles. KB says she's walked openly through town, changing faces every few seconds, and folks were freaked out. They saw it. Yeah, she's lost all subtlety completely. Berkey says none of them are handling it well. Academic says Kaladin's catatonic at this stage. Yeah, it is way too much. And the days of stop, we can talk about it, are long past. Like, there's too many conflicting people, groups of people that have a lot of angst and purpose, and it contradicts the others. And I want to say thank you to EFG and Sergio, who just followed in the last 2 minutes on Twitch as well. All the three protagonists are redefining what their oaths mean to them. Who's got examples of what I'm saying? Because this book, they're changing a lot from when they first became a Radiant. Now that they're settling into sort of what this Radiance is. KP, what do we got?
Well, I'll speak about Dalinar specifically. He's a bondsmith. He unites. Now, so far, we've all thought, along with him, that means unite the peoples, unite the kingdoms. But he can unite anything. He literally unites the stone blocks of the town and fixes their buildings, their statues, their shelters.
He's rebuilding.
And we've seen the hints where his power unites with Shalon's to make that map. Again, I think eventually he's going to somehow unite many Radiant powers together, and that might be how they have a champion to beat Odium's champion or something. But anyways, yeah, he's realizing, and he did this, I can't remember if it was book 1 or 2, when like he went to the war camp and I forget what they needed. They needed something done, and he changed his sword into something else, or he cut blocks, but he used it for construction, for building. And he's like, we could have been doing this for 1,000 years. Why have we only ever used them as swords? They can do all this stuff.
Academic says he was asking why the heralds didn't make shard shovels.
Exactly. And so, and we know that Cal can change Syl into any form, a spear, a sword, whatever. I don't think anybody else is. They have, Lift can make a shard fork. Once everybody else figures out that they can do these things with their spren, he can make a shovel. He can do that.
And it's so interesting because Blackthorn only knew destruction, killing, death, conquering. So to see Dalinar kind of building, you're exactly right. And it's not, he sucks at uniting people because of his past. But I think if he demonstrates what he's willing to rebuild to bring people together, that is a positive way that he's growing in his radiance. Yes. Shalon is, oh my God, that's so great. Baz is just showing us a blanket which says Ersiglolander. So good. Oh, rock. Actually, speaking of our Bridge 4 crew, Teft had his chapter. Now, Teft, there's so many different examples of sort of addiction that's happening here. Shalon is almost like disassociating, and a lot of addiction is to escape. It's to escape your trauma. It's to escape what you're feeling. It's to null it. It's to drown it out. It's to block it out. It's to, deafen it. And so Shalon, in a way, is using her DID and her different personalities to suppress, to avoid, to, push back down. Dalinar and his thrill, now if that ain't an addiction, like this thing has a hold on him and he keeps going, yes, more blood, more conquering, more bloodshed, more death. And he can't believe that there's no cap on this. He can't believe that it can't be sated. And he even said that. He's just like, whoa, I just like, his Anakin moment, women, children, you name it, like I killed all of them. And the thrill still wants more. So that's another addiction component. Teft's literally addicted. He's addicted to, what is it, flame moss? It's a substance that kind of knocks you out a little bit. It's fire moth. It is
Fire moth.
It is, substance abuse in this instance. But what was it like having a Teft chapter, knowing that he's spoken the oaths? Any idea on Teft's unknown spren and what's going on there? What did we learn about Teft that maybe we didn't know before? Did you like the chapter? We've got 9 minutes. If Teft ain't it, then we can absolutely move on. We had Teft, we've got Lift, we've got Side Quest, we've got the Elar Death, we've got...
I liked getting the different points of view from the different bridgemen, because we got more than just Teft, because you got
previously
Rock's
had
point of
Rock.
view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like getting those.
You were learning about
chapters.
Scar. Scar couldn't quite absorb the Stormlight, but by teaching others to use it, he is actually able to develop the skill himself. Darian?
That was a great moment.
Yeah, I loved that.
That moment with Scar was great, because he was like just resigned. All right, if I can't be a Radiant, I'll help others get
I
to 1
know.
million.
I know my
that
place in
triggered it for him.
this. I know. And it's like, look, I don't want to be a cook, but maybe I can be a teacher. And that's not a bad thing. And boom, what do you know? Yes, and we also, Scar, Teft, Rock, Paper, Scissors, all great, says KP Dubs. A point of view which I think was one of the more important ones was Relaine. This is the Parshman who has been inducted into Bridge 4 as one of their own, and hearing his point of view, because you wouldn't know any other way unless we were in his head. The cultural differences. Yes, Bridge 4 being outcasts in their own right, but none of them truly understanding what Relaine feels in any given moment. And he has an outburst to Kaladin being like, oh, you understand? Do you? Do you really understand what it's like for me? And you know that Relaine's been sort of like grateful for the fact that he's got family. He was supposed to be an undercover spy and he ended up defecting. He chose to be and remain with Bridge 4 because of how Kaladin had treated him, because of the respect that he was given that didn't have to be earned. Relaine was great to hear from, says KP. Relaine knows the recipe for the chili, I'm sure. But it was a really beautiful moment where you kind of recognize that everyone's so focused on the task at hand, and they've all kind of got an understanding of each other's culture, that no one's actually asking Relaine. No one's really asking, hey, what is it like for you? What is going on for you? How different is it? What are you going through? What are the challenges that you're facing? How are you feeling? And Relaine is not going to say it unless asked or unless pushed to a point of isolation, that it comes out almost in anger and frustration. KPW says, we're getting lots of clues as to what the Parsh really are. They are just a people. For some reason, they've been targeted by the Void Spren to inhabit their bodies. Let's look at why. Why are Parshmen so in demand from the Void? Colleen, I saw that hand go up. And KP Dubs, you'll be after.
Well, I was just going to say that the big thing with the Parshmen, I mean, they're victims of colonialism. They're victims of colonialism for millennia.
Mm-hmm.
So even when Kaladin was trying to say, look, I understand how you feel because I was a slave too. And it reminded me of, when I've heard people going, well, the Irish were slaves too, but it wasn't really the same thing. Saw, I think it was, said, they took your freedom or they took your body, but they took our minds.
Mm.
And it's like totally co-opting them as human beings, treating them like livestock.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the oppression part of it, right? The less than. And it's the removal of culture. It's the removal of...
They lost their rhythms.
Their rhythms, exactly. And, you know, how they communicate, that's being lost. And it's like this whole thing is, wow, your English is really good. You know, those moments where they couldn't believe how well they can communicate. All of these sorts of, you know, I guess microaggressions that take place through this. Another thing, KP Dubs, you are next. What's another reason why the Void seek Parshmen?
Well, probably because they do have the ability to change form. So if they can get them to voluntarily basically give up their bodies, they could take the various war forms and be very, very good fighters.
Storm form is now a thing as well. These guys are evolving physically in massive ways that they have huge advantages on humans. Humans are stuck in mating form, mate form, a little bit of soldier form, a little bit of slave form, but, you know, 80% mate form. And they can't believe that that's kind of like all that they are at any given moment. They can't ever change.
Right. Now, another thing that we only learn if you read the little sentences before every chapter, all the things stored in the gems, which I'm calling thumb drives. There's 4 or 5 by the same past Radiant, and he talks about, like, our scholars have figured out something that we might be able to block the Void Spren from taking over the Parsh. We don't know what these unforeseen side effects might be, but it'll stop them from changing forms. That's the hint to what locked them into the dull form and made them slaves thousands of years ago.
Is so that they couldn't be inhabited by Void.
So it is something the Radiants were doing
on purpose, and as a consequence, they became an oppressed race. But they didn't even know that. What was their history taken from them? Was their legacy, their stories, their again culture? We saw mate form. Academic says, "Hey, mate form's pretty cool. Okay, just chill." I don't know. I could use war form from time to time. I've been stuck in mate form this whole damn life. Give me a bit of war form. Storm form? Hell yeah. Just 3 days. Instead of women getting periods, we could be storm form for like 4 to 5 days. That'd be so good. I'd much prefer that. I wouldn't get headaches all day. Overshare. Maude is nah mate form. Stanislav just says, see ya. Oh, that's Steph saying goodbye. I thought he was saying goodbye because of what I said. And I was like, yeah, it'll get someone every time. Another thing about an oppressed race over millennia is that they are easier to control. Voids are literally using their power to convince Parshmen that it's a great thing to be sacrificed. Everyone's doing it. It's your part in this war. What a role that you can have. You can sacrifice yourself for the greater good. How cool, right? What do you mean you don't? No. This is what your purpose is. Just be sacrificed. I know someone that's been around for millennia that I just want, your body seems kind of cool. And they want it, and I want them to have it. So just give it up. Colleen says it's cannon fodder. The greater good. All that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a lot to it. And I feel like these books, there's a reason why there's 1,200 pages. We are going through character backstories. We are going through different race backstories and history. We have lore. We have legends. We have gods. We have false gods. We have Spren. We have Void. We have heralds. We have honor blades. We have Shardblades. We have shard plates. We have a king. We had a king. We have a high king. Ooh, too soon? Ooh, it only happened 1 chapter ago. Do they really think that they're being sacrificed? I'm not sure how much, especially now that we had Venley's point of view. I'm not sure how much consent there is. And once you're gone, you're gone. Like, Parshmen only have 1 soul. Oh, Voids recycle. I just got a All right, that's 2 hours of Oathbringer, brought to you by Maude's Book Club. Parsh, he gone, Parsh. He gone. That's an inside joke from Gone Girl from 7 years ago, maybe more. So that means your homework is to finish the dang book. We are reading all of Oathbringer, chapter 86 to the end. If you would like an app that is absolutely free that you can join and you can contribute to conversations at the end of every chapter, so you can have a chapter by chapter play book, you can join Fable. We have them for our main book and our bonus book that happens. So we're on Fable. That's always fun. You can get the schedule there as well. You can find out what the book is and you can do chapter by chapter breakdowns. Usually when I have an oh shit moment, I will turn to Fable and be like, what did everyone else think about this moment? KP Dubs, I see you tuning in multiple times while you're reading it because I'm like, oh, that was 3 paragraphs in, that was 5 pages in, and I'm just here like, I just heard the end of this and I'm losing my shit. It is a little bit harder for me because I listen to audiobooks, so I don't necessarily always press pause to go to Fable. I will just keep listening because there's 72 hours of the book to get through. But if that's how your brain works, then head over to Fable. We have just a cheeky 400 plus pages to read a week to finish this book. That's just a book a week. I had to cancel some plans, twist my arm. Oh no. But I have enjoyed, I actually finished it yesterday. I couldn't believe I was a day ahead of schedule. I'm actually reading the Midnight Library on the side. Whoo, am I going to trauma dump in the after show about why that's poignant at this particular time. By the way, Members Plus, we have a little after show breakdown. It's usually beforehand, a little bit after, depending on how hungry I get, I suppose, how quickly I have to have dinner. Colleen says I read a lot on the plane, so I couldn't pause the ebook either. Did you read ahead, Colleen? Oh, you've already read the whole series. Who am I kidding? You're ahead.
I read the whole series, but I'm going back, and I only read up to the assigned, reread to the assigned reading this time.
And you said that...
It wasn't like I could go to Fable while I was on the plane.
Yeah. You also said that reading it the second time was better than the first time as well.
I'd forgotten so much.
And Academic, you said that there's things that you've, even though read the book a few times, you'd missed and only discovered upon talking about. I believe Forlorn Night rocked your brain over Elakar's moments. Oh, we didn't even mention Wit.
Yeah. Oh, we don't have to talk about Wit, but we'll talk about him later, okay? Like
Wit.
We'll get back to him.
Is he gonna show up again? Like, I mean, usually she pops up and that's it one time. And it's...
I have a confession. Wit's long-winded stories in the middle of a long-winded fucking book ain't it. When he tells that story, if he can't tell a quick story, if that story is 17 pages long, I'm like, you can hurry that up. I think I tuned out for a lot of it. What was the point he was trying to make? Because I'm pretty sure he was telling the same story that he already told about the wall in the village.
He was telling her to take her own advice.
Oh, wait, I wish you could just say that.
But you can't be Wit and just say that.
He did. After he did the whole story, he basically is like, just be you, Shalon. Just do the thing.
Billy Sunrider says, come on, dude. The girl who looked up is very important to Shalon's story. This is why we have book club to tell me.
I'm not sure if you're gonna like Tress if you didn't like the Wit stories. That is essentially what Tress is.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know.
Wit shows up here and there in different places, and you see different aspects of him, but he's always...
He didn't sing this one, so I can be grateful for that. Berkey says, why say something once when you can say it 10 times? Pianki likes Wit stories. I think I would too, just if they weren't so long. Wit likes messing with people, says Darren.
I don't like songs and books. That's mea culpa. So, like I prefer a story over a book, a song and a story. That's
true. Sway, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch as well. Tater Tot says, I'm on page 20 of Oathbringer. Oh, sweetheart, we have been talking about 2/3 of the book this entire time. Thank you for the 4,409 likes. That's happening over on TikTok as well, and for the 8 new followers on that one. I do appreciate it. We are going to be finishing the book, except when Rocky talks. Oh, it's my favorite. 55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 shakes. I get that reference. Yay. Look, Wit's story, he's helping Shalon along. He's a little bit guardian angel in a way where he is trying to give her insights and like he put her in touch with some people. Did it help her in the end? No, she got that kid killed. There were consequences because she couldn't stop being Vale when she needed Shalon to see big picture. All right, guys, let's finish the dang book. We've also locked in September's book reads. We are going to be doing James, is it Islington? The Will of the Many? Which one? The second one, Islington? He's Aussie. I should know it. We're doing The Will of the Many. And we're also going to be heading over to a kind of like untapped area for Maude's Book Club by doing the Sunrise on the Reaping, which is a prequel for the Hunger Games series. Now, I binged all the Hunger Games 2011, way back when, and I haven't really touched it since. I think Jeff and I are going to fight next month too, says Academic. In the red corner, weighing in. That's fun. Yay. Look, healthy debates are a really important factor of a book club. If we're all here agreeing the entire time, that's on the same level as Wit singing a story, you know? Like, it gets old fast and it feels like a long time. I am a big fan of, I mean, I can absolutely disagree with you with a smile on my face. It's the best. Won't of the Many. You're not going to do Will of the Many? Did you already read it? You did? And Mid, you didn't love it? I have read it. What'd you give it? Actually, I don't want to tarnish. I don't want to taint people's thoughts. I'm hearing really, really good things about it.
You will love it, Maude.
Yay. And he's Aussie. This is our first Aussie author in the whole time pretty much I've been doing book club. So I recommended you one, Vaden. You read Looking for Ella Brandy, which was compulsory reading for my school in year 11. And it did a really interesting take on what it was like growing up as an Italian Australian, and the Australian bias class system of private schools versus public schools, which was very intrinsic to my childhood. We're also going to do Sunrise on the Reaping. Did you read any? Do you like the Hunger Games? Or is it too YA for you, Jeff?
I've read Hunger Games. It's been a long, long time. I don't love YA. I will fully admit that.
Mm-hmm. No, I know that about you. Yeah, we haven't done this for a while, and we also haven't really done a female author for a little bit as well. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been un momento. It's been a minute.
We just did V.E. Schwab.
We just did V.E. Schwab. That was July. And then October's going to be 2 white male authors.
You said Aussie. Who was the writer? We read a ghost story.
Oh, Darcy Coates.
Yes.
That was for Nerdist Book Club. I still have Darcy's book in my bookshelf. Yeah, that was fun.
She's in the States right now. She's doing a book tour for her new one, yeah. She's coming to Portland soon. I was going to see her.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we interviewed her for Nerdist Book Club as well. She was really great. No, actually, KP-Dub, she's Kiwi. Tamsin, just behind me, Tamsin Muir is a Kiwi. I still want to support her, though, because of that, you know. Go Anzacs. All right, everyone. If you're a member, don't you dare, Jeff. I knew you were starting a fight with that one. Same thing. If you're a member, we are locking in the rest of the book picks for the year, and you have your say with that. We do polls. Oh, she was born in New South Wales? Shut up. I didn't know that. I thought she identified as being a Kiwi. Oh, there you go. We also have really cool interviews coming up. I'm doing one next Wednesday with a BookTok creator. His name's Smitty1423. He's been a BookTok creator and has amassed, I think, 280,000 TikTok followers in the space of like 2 years talking about books. So I have asked him to select the top 5 books that shaped his life. And we're going to go through memory lane with these books and why these particular books were so important for him. And we've got Brandon Sanderson coming up. We've got to lock that one in. And I can announce that we have locked in John Scalzi, who is doing our bonus book, Kaiju Preservation Society, and the book we covered in January as our bonus book, Starter Villain, and that will be September 3rd. So we've got some great author interviews coming up. I'm trying to interview more authors, narrators, and creators because I feel like this is a really fun community and I want to learn from everyone, including book recs and the books that shaped lives. I'll encourage everyone else to do so. Oh, that's great. In the show chat, Jay Buntrock has posted Darcy Coates' book tour dates as well. Is she going to be in LA? Wonder if she'll have a coffee. That's great. Love all this. The community on Discord is really fantastic. If you haven't joined yet, the Nightbot has just posted the link so you can come join. You're guaranteed a warm welcome over there. Same time next week for our final part 3 of Oathbringer. And if you remember, I want you to start thinking about the questions that you want me to ask Brandon Sanderson on your behalf. That's a member perk as well. No better time to join. There's the Patreon link as well. Who should we raid into? Do. The Legend of what? I am following Melanie SP, who's playing Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and she has 1 viewer. So let's make her day. Also, for all my members as well, if there's a Twitch streamer that is starting out, especially if they do cozy or book stuff or anything like that, why do you write like you're running out of time? Maybe he knows when it's all over for him and he's got to get that legacy out. He's got to finish the story. Anyway, go say hi to Melanie. I'll see you all next week and I'll see everyone in the Members Plus call now. Right now.